Welcome to this explainer. I'm Chun Xi, and today I'm going to personally walk you through the absolute wildest, most transformative period of my entire life. Now, if you've been following the rumors swirling around the Capitol, you already know my story is, well, it's anything but conventional. We're going to dive into the exact steps, the incredibly desperate decisions, and the totally unexpected alliances that dragged me from the absolute lowest rungs of servitude straight to the heights of high society. So get ready, because this journey, it's a literal masterclass in survival.
So, let's just address the elephant in the room. The exact question everyone in Hanjing was whispering behind my back. How does a girl who spent 3 years emptying bedpans, enduring the terrifying temper of a paralyzed young master, suddenly rise to such power? I mean, the odds were completely stacked against me. I was a massive target. My former master Wei Lingzhe was utterly obsessed with reclaiming me, and my own family? They literally saw me as nothing more than a walking bag of silver. But, as you'll see, being backed into a corner is exactly what forces you to finally bare your fangs.
And my absolute breaking point with my greedy mother, Madam Wang, happened right here. I realized I had to take control of my own destiny. I had just earned my freedom, right? I brought home a carriage full of fine silks and 1,000 taels of silver. But what did she do? She immediately started giving away my hard-earned rewards to keep up appearances, all while scheming behind my back to send me right back to the Wei family as a disposable concubine. No way. I drew a line in the sand. I told her flat out that as long as someone came to propose, I would leave immediately. You could literally feel the chill in my voice. That was the exact second I stopped being a victim to my family's greed.
I was completely done being a pawn. This brings us right into Section 1, my fight for justice. It was time to fight back against the people who saw me as just property.
My life escalated so terrifyingly fast, from fighting for basic survival to preparing for a high-stakes marriage. It was a breathless sequence of events. First up, I had to physically confront the wealthy Liu family right there on Osmantha Street to demand justice for my family. Then, right in the middle of all this chaos with assassins and interrogations, I get this shocking offer of marriage from a powerful lord. But to actually make that marriage happen, I literally had to buy my own freedom from my mother. And before I could even catch my breath, bam, I'm kneeling at the formal tea ceremony. The sheer speed of it all was dizzying, but you know what? Hesitation would have meant absolute ruin.
Now think about the two men involved here. The stark contrast between my former master and the man who saved my life couldn't be clearer. Wei Lingzhe viewed my departure as some calculated scheme to become his concubine. He literally pressed a sword to my throat, ordered me abducted to become his hidden mistress, and subjected me to the cruelest interrogations. Total toxic possessiveness. But in complete contrast, you have Shen Qinyan, an upright official of the Jingzhou prefecture. When Wei Lingzhe came demanding my return, Lord Shen stood firmly between us, declaring I was under his absolute protection. He treated me with respectful boundaries, not as a pawn, but as an actual human being worthy of respect. A real game changer.
Escaping Wei Lingzhe meant I desperately needed a powerful backer. So let's get into Section 2, an unexpected marriage proposal. Honestly, I never expected the formidable Lord Shen to actually offer me his name.
500 taels. That was the exact price it took to pay off my own mother so I could marry Lord Shen and escape becoming a hidden mistress. Think about that for a second. My own mother was fully prepared to ruin my entire life, and she only backed down when I slid a small fortune across the table. It's a really harsh reality for sure, but it was absolutely the most important investment I ever made. It completely severed the toxic control she held over me and cleared the path for my alliance with the Shen household.
I will never, ever forget his hot breath on my face and those dark, wolf-like eyes of his. When he asked me, "Have you thought it through? Are you truly ready?" It instantly melted away all my bravado. Up until that exact moment, our arrangement just felt like a pragmatic business deal, you know? A shield for me, a capable household manager for him. But when the morning light streamed into the room and he leaned in with that predatory intensity, wow. The reality of my new life just crashed down on me. I realized I was binding myself to a man whose depths I had barely even begun to fathom.
But of course, marrying Lord Shen was just the first battle. Let's look at Section 3, managing my new household. Because surviving as his new madam in a massive, hostile estate was an entirely different war.
I didn't just sit around looking pretty all day. The Shen estate was a literal snake pit, and I needed a safe haven fast. So I took immediate, super pragmatic steps. First, I established ironclad authority in our specific area, Wenskin Courtyard. Second, when my little brother Cao Wen came sulking around complaining, I didn't coddle him. Nope, I handed him a spade and put him to work, making it crystal clear that no one under my roof is idle. And third, this is absolutely crucial, I oversaw the rapid construction of a private small kitchen. Because in a hostile noble house, controlling what you eat and drink is rule number 1 for staying alive.
And I had to show everyone that my absolute refusal to let my family be bullied was real. It proved to all of Hanjing that I was a force to be reckoned with. Even though my mother was causing me endless grief, I still fiercely protected my own. When the Liu family ruthlessly smashed up our home and caused my sister-in-law to go into premature labor, I didn't cower. Not anymore. I used my new resources, rushed back with a life-saving 100-year-old ginseng, personally hired a doctor, and then marched straight back to the Liu family shop to extract a massive sum in compensation. The maid who used to bow her head? She was gone. The new Madam Shen had officially arrived.
But peace? Yeah, peace was fleeting. Welcome to Section 4, Dodging Assassins and In-Laws. My new mother-in-law, Madam Mo, and the treacherous Shen Qingqi immediately started setting traps for me.
I had to keep my wits sharp and a hidden dagger close at all times. Seriously, look at what I was dealing with. I had Madame Mo's constant, vocal disapproval of my commoner background. I was constantly dodging Shen Qingqi's deliberate, pathetic attempts to humiliate me at every single banquet. And oh yeah, I survived an actual, literal assassination attempt while I was just innocently trying to change my clothes in the guest rooms. But the true anchor amidst all this utter chaos, it was Lord Shen himself. When the dust finally settled, he looked at me and basically offered himself up as compensation. He gave me total permission to leverage his power.
And amidst all that insanity, the biggest shock wasn't the assassins. It was realizing my own heart was actually softening toward my fiercely protective husband. I mean, I entered this marriage looking for a bodyguard, right? A political shield. But seeing him step in front of me time and time again, trusting me with his vulnerability, and treating me with the respect I had literally never known, I really had to ask myself, was I actually falling for this towering, formidable man?
So yeah, our little marriage of convenience was rapidly catching fire. It was turning into a genuine, blushing romance. One night, we were just playing a simple finger-guessing game, and I kept losing terribly. But instead of just laughing it off, the tension just snapped. He scooped me right up, carried me back to our room, and kissed me with a depth that completely rewired my brain. When he pulled back and asked if I regretted our arrangement, I looked right into his dark eyes and told him the absolute truth. I, Chun Xi, never regret what I promise.
But just as we were finding our rhythm, official duties threatened to tear us apart. Let's move into our final chapter, Section 5, Journey to Shuzhou with him. My total devotion to him really solidified here, because he refused to leave me behind to face the capital's wolves all alone. Shen Qingyuan was being dispatched to Shuzhou for a highly dangerous, high-stakes corruption case. Now, in most noble households, the wife stays behind to manage the estate. That's just how it works. I was already bracing myself for a terrifying, lonely wait, but instead, he told me he had personally petitioned the crown prince so I could accompany him. He wasn't just acting as my protector anymore. He was making me his true partner.
So we celebrated his big promotion, and the intimate tension between us finally shattered all my remaining walls. My past kept trying to intrude, of course. Wei Lingzhe even audaciously demanded to apologize to us in person, which was just another thinly veiled threat. But my husband completely brushed him aside. It all led to this amazing drunken carriage ride back to the estate. The cramped space, the absolute safety I felt wrapped in his arms. When he leaned in and began gently nibbling on my neck, teasing me about wanting to try things out, the so-called formidable Madame Shen completely melted.
So, I leave you with this final, provocative thought. Just how far will this journey to Shuzhou push our newfound romance? And can a former maid actually survive the deadly corruption waiting for us out in the provinces? Our carriage is packed, the assassins are undoubtedly already sharpening their blades, and my formidable husband is finally letting down his guard around me. But Shuzhou is a total den of vipers. Can the gritty survival skills I learned as a lowly maid keep us alive in the treacherous world of high-level government corruption? Well, you'll just have to keep following my diary to find out. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and take this one lesson from my crazy life. Never, ever let anyone else write your destiny.